So this is an area that I've been to before. Some badlands just north of Las Vegas. It's really sad how thrashed this place really is. As you can see, the sun is starting to rise behind me. Is what we have. So this is one of those situations where you make a plan and then you get out and the conditions are not what they were supposed to be. So we were supposed to have 20 to 30% cloud cover in the sky today. Conditions were not what we expected. As you can see, ended up with 0% cloud cover. But it is Las Vegas, it is Nevada, so it's pretty much par for the course. But very nice color in the sunrise. So I have done just a little bit of photographing some of the mountains here, just looking at the alpenglow as it hits the tops of these peaks. That's not, though, what I came here for. The reason that I came here is because of these formations that you see just sort of out here. And so as the sun starts to rise from over here, it's gonna light these, they're kind of these badland dunes hopefully light them up into these bright red colors, or at least a deep yellow, maybe some golden orange. And so I'm just waiting for the sun to crest over that hill. I'm gonna get set up right about here, and this is what I want, and I'm gonna be shooting probably with my long 70 to 200 lens. All right, the sun's starting to peek out. Now it's on me, and I'm just watching it come over this valley here. As the sun comes up, because of the fact that there's a mountain out in the distance here that kind of blocked the sun as it was coming up initially, the sun has now probably been up for maybe 2 minutes, and it is already very harsh. Again, there's not much cloud or haze in the sky. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna pivot my composition this way. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to grab the kind of layers or the rows of these groups, of these, I don't know what these are called. They're like mud mounds out here. And try to get the depth that I see as the sun just hits the peaks, and then the lower portions are still kind of blue and in shade. And again, shooting with the long lens because I really want to compress that horizon line. And again, just grasping for composition here. Now, right now I'm shooting at ISO 100, and again, I've got my image right in the middle of my histogram. shooting at f8, and right now I'm at 1/15 of a second. Trying to shield the wind. Hopefully it's not too loud and you can actually hear me. Now, because of the bright light that's hitting the tops of these, I am getting some clipping in the highlights. So I'm gonna bring my aperture, so I'm gonna exposure my time picture make, shutter speed up just a little bit. I'm gonna bring it up to 1/40th so that I don't clip those highlights, but then I'm gonna bring it back down to 1/25th. And then what I may do is layer those images together and paint on those highlights using a luminosity mask. That way I don't have to bring up the shadows too much and introduce noise into my image. I've noticed sort of an interesting kind of bush right over here that it's got a lot of detail and it's really picking up the light from right behind it. It's backlit with the sun, and there's a few more in the distance. It's just very bright. So we'll see if I can even capture it. It's kind of interesting looking, and it's being backlit by the sun. And I think I can get a good exposure on it, as well as some of the shrubbery behind it. And because I've got the sun somewhat out of the frame, it's not clipped at all. So I'm actually getting the whole thing. I don't normally utilize depth of field preview, and this is, I think, the first time that I've actually wanted to have it on the EOS R, or at least a dedicated button on the body. And I do not have that. Now I think I might switch to a vertical composition. Still get the tree. And now with that, I am introducing some clipping. So I'm going to bring, again, in this case, I'm actually going to bring my aperture down from f8 to f13. This is a pretty great lens, so I don't think that's going to hurt me too much. Now that does force me to underexpose my image by about 1 stop. So even at f13, where I am right now, ISO 100, 1/25th of a second, I'm probably still going to get some out of focus elements, maybe even in the foreground and in the background, just because of the nature of this lens, right? When you're working with a telephoto, you're still going to be compressing quite a bit of distance together, creating those out of focus elements, which is actually one of the really big advantages of a telephoto lens, is that you can really focus on your subject. And in this instance, that's exactly what I want to do. So in some cases, I might do a focus stack where I would focus maybe on the foreground here, and then the midground, and then another in the deep background, and then end up compositing those together in Photoshop afterwards to give myself a focus stack. But I want to really focus on this bush. This is my primary subject. So I'm not going to do that, and I'm just going to shoot it directly as it is. Even though I'm on pretty solid footing here, I'm still utilizing the 2-second timer. Just because when you press that button, there's always going to be just a teeny tiny bit of shake. You're never 100% sure. So why chance a little bit of camera shake? And with the soft hills in the background, and the fact that this bush that I'm shooting is just really kind of craggy and almost rough looking, I really want to make sure that every bit of it is in focus. Now, the sun has continued to rise, and the light gets harsher and harsher, more and more contrasty, and I may have found something to resuscitate this little trip here. Otherwise, there wasn't much. And that happens sometimes, you know?